All right, we got people coming in. Welcome, everybody. We'll get started here in a minute. Looks like we still have people coming in. We'll give another minute or so for people to trickle in. Okay, it's a little bit after 10, so let's go ahead and get started. Some people may still trickle in here. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our New Agent Accelerator webinar. This is a limited webinar series. And as you may know, Aceable and Prep Agent have partnered up. My name is Matt with Aceable, and I will be your moderator for this session. And we also have Cynthia, who will introduce herself here in a minute. So before we get started, if you have a question, you can go ahead and use the Q&A feature in Zoom. And that will allow us to see your questions. I'll be watching those questions while Cynthia is presenting. And we can get any questions you have answered. At the end, we'll also have time for Q&A. During that time, you can raise your hand and I'll be able to unmute some people to get some questions answered. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Cynthia to introduce herself and get us talking about what to do after you pass your license exam.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. This is probably one of the most beneficial webinars that you could attend. Many of you have passed your exam and you're thinking, oh my goodness, now what? So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a real estate broker. I've been in the business for 25 years. I'm here in Texas. I've been teaching real estate classes for the last 18 years. I teach qualifying classes to those getting their license. I teach continuing education. I work with Prep Agent on a regular basis, doing webinars a couple of days a week, and I tutor all of you wonderful students who are sitting for that licensing exam, but you got that done. A lot of you who are here today, some of you, maybe you're still working on the testing part, but we'll have that accomplished here shortly. So that's what I do all day, every day. I have a master's degree in human relations and business, so I love to learn. I like to go get certifications, designations. We'll be talking about that as we go through this webinar, some ideas on things for you as well. So that's a little bit about me and what I do all day, every day, and what my background is. And now let me also go in and tell you a little bit before we do our poll on our journey. Let me kind of tell you what my story is. Probably one of the reasons that I decided I wanted to teach real estate was because I had such, excuse me, a bad experience when I first got my real estate license. And I don't want that for you. So I had been a paralegal. My husband and I had 2 small children. Our sons were in daycare. So you can only imagine they were sick all the time. Maybe some of you can relate to that. I was forever calling that attorney one more time and saying, you know what? I can't come to work again today. I have another sick child. And one day when I was talking to that attorney, I just stopped and I thought, you know what? I will never apologize again for taking care of my children. They come first. I will find a career where I have the best of both worlds. I can have the flexibility to take my kids to school, to pick them up from school. If they're sick, take them to the doctor, be home with them. And I'll also have a rewarding career. I will get my real estate license. I passed my test the first time. I thought I was so smart. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Absolutely none. I went to work at a brokerage as an independent contractor. And there I sat all day, every day. No one taught me anything. Nobody helped me. No one trained me. It's a good thing my desk was really cute because I'd stopped at the office supply store. I don't know if some of you, when you're starting a new job, we always want to decorate our desk and all that kind of thing. So I'd stopped at the office supplies store on the way to my first day at the brokerage and gotten all these cute little things for my desk. Well, it's a good thing it looked good because that's where I sat all day, every day. If this makes sense to some of you, I didn't know what question to ask. I desperately wanted to learn, but I didn't even know a question to ask. I came from the legal background. I didn't even know in real estate, you went out and got the business. At the law firm, everyone called in. Well, this was completely different and no one was teaching me, nobody. So finally, there was a new investor who came about. Not a good investor, or I'm quite certain they would not have asked me to work with him. So they said, we're going to let you work with this investor. Oh my goodness, I was so happy. Finally, I had someone to work with. Now, I didn't know the difference between a customer and a client. I know all of you have learned all of that as you've been preparing for the exam. I didn't even know that. So I still remember when the investor called me. I was having dinner at Chili's with my husband and my sons. Do some of you remember the great big cell phones that we used to carry? Some of you may can relate. Some of you are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. They were huge. Well, that's what I had. And this investor called me and he said, I want to go look at houses tomorrow. And I thought I was so important. I told my family, I have to step out for just a moment. I have a client to talk to. Well, he was just a customer because I hadn't had him sign anything to make him a client. I didn't even know what that was. So I scheduled to take him out to look at houses the next day. The brokerage didn't teach me anything. They didn't go over any documentation that he would need to sign in advance. They did not tell me about safety. There is no amount of money worth you jeopardizing your safety. You want to be safe in this industry. So I put him in my vehicle the next morning and I took him to look at houses. The first house I showed in my real estate career, there were thieves in the backyard stealing the copper piping. The next house we got to, and the investor, I wasn't real sure about him. He just wasn't making a lot of sense. And I thought, oh my goodness, I didn't tell anybody where I was going. So the next house we went to look at didn't have a front door on it. And I said, you don't need my key card to get in that house. You go on in, I'll be in shortly. So I got him out of my vehicle. I called my broker. I called my husband. This is where I am. Please know where I am in case I don't come back, because I was feeling extremely unsafe. Wow, that brokerage failed me. I desperately wanted to learn. And I didn't know a question to ask. I was relying on them to teach me. Just taking your classes to get your license. Taking a licensing exam does not prepare you. I don't want your story to be the story that I had. So that's one of the reasons that I teach. That's one of the reasons we're having this webinar today. So we can give you every single chance for success. It was when I finally got with a broker. Her name was Joy. She had 2 listings. An agent had left her brokerage. And as you know, the broker owns all of the business. That broker had the right to keep those listings when that agent left. And she had done that. And she said, you can have those 2 listings and you can learn real estate, or you can tell me no, thank you. I was so excited. I had a sign in 2 yards. I had arrived in real estate, and Joy was right by my side that whole entire time, me calling her 20 times a day, me following her, job shadowing her. I can never thank her enough. She taught me real estate. I want for all of you a joy. So we're going to be talking about some things so that you have every chance to be the author of your success story in real estate. I don't want you to waste a couple of years like I did at the very beginning. And I think Matt has a great poll for you he wants you to take to see where you are on your journey.
Yeah, so our first poll question is, where are you in the process of starting your real estate career? So go ahead and answer this real quick. We'll give about 30 seconds to a minute here for people to answer. So you might have just passed pre-license, but not yet the license exam. You might have passed the license exam, but maybe you don't have a broker yet. Maybe you have a broker and not very much experience. Or maybe you've been in real estate for a while already. We got some results coming in. I'll give it about another 10 seconds, and then we'll share the results here. Looks like over half of us have had a chance to answer.
Wow. This is a perfect webinar for the majority of you who answered the poll, that you passed your pre-licensing, but you haven't passed the licensing exam yet.
Yep. So here are our results. Most of us have either passed and or passed pre-license, but not yet the exam, or have maybe passed license exam, but don't have a broker. Very few of us have kind of been in this for a few months. So this is great. Everybody's kind of thinking about the next steps.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
So let's
That's
move on.
wonderful. All right. So some of the things that we're going to be talking about, those brokers. And don't forget, we have an upcoming webinar on interviewing questions to ask a broker. We're going to be talking about what is your plan for real estate. We're going to be talking about marketing on a budget. We're going to talk about managing your time. We're going to talk about income. How much money do you want to make? And then we're going to have some time to answer all of your questions. We want to make sure we address those, that we answer those, so that you have every chance for success in your career in real estate. So if you haven't already started looking for a broker, we know that finding a broker is super, super important. One of the reasons it's so important is because they are going to be the ones who train you. They are going to be the ones who teach you. So I want your main priority in what you're looking for in a broker to be somebody who is going to train you, somebody who is going to be available to you. You may be writing your first offer at midnight. If you've never done that before, unless somebody is right there helping you, it's a chance to set you up for failure, and we don't want that to happen. So finding that broker, so very important. One that is going to train you, one who is going to be available there to help you. That's what's going to give you every opportunity for success in this business. Now, we also want you to start updating your resume. And you're probably thinking, well, I don't have any experience in real estate. What in the world would I put on my resume? You all come from careers that are very impressive. You all have some kind of skill in whatever career you're coming from that you can carry over directly to real estate. I was tutoring a student this morning who was in the medical profession. Well, she's great with details. She's used to knowing all those details, empathy. In residential real estate, you're helping somebody. This is their home. This is where all their memories are made. So those kind of skills from somebody who's a nurse would be fantastic to carry right over to real estate. Maybe you come from the legal field like I did. One of the things that helped me the most, I knew how to document my file well. Maybe you come from being a server in a restaurant. Servers make fantastic agents. You're used to providing outstanding customer service. Maybe you're a bartender in the past. Bartenders make great agents because you're used to talking to so many different people. So remember, use your resume, update your resume. Even though you've not done real estate before, take your resume to your interviews with your broker, because those skills from your past careers, a lot of those things can be carried right over into your real estate career. Start preparing for the interviews. Make sure that you're dressed professionally. Make sure that you've done some checking on the brokers or brokerages that you're going to interview. I have a student and she followed my advice on this, and she did some research on the broker that she was thinking about going with and found out that they actually had a criminal background. And so she wouldn't have figured that out if she hadn't double checked. Is there any disciplinary action with the real estate association for that state? How long ago was it? I want to know about that particular brokerage that I'm going to interview. And we want to be extremely professional in that interview. Also, remember that you're kind of the boss of this interview. The majority of you are going to be an independent contractor. And as an independent contractor, you're the one who is going to be asking a lot of those questions to the brokers. Now, there are some brokerages that have a business model where it's employer-employee, but the majority, an independent contractor. So you want to be the boss of that interview. Mr. Broker, I have a lot of questions to ask you. I want to know about your errors and omissions insurance. I want to know about the training. I want to know about that. So you want to be ready for that interview, have your questions ready, dress professionally, know the background of that brokerage. All right, what you should know, whether you have a broker or not, you need to know these things. The best time to ask these questions is always before you join that brokerage. Remember my story. I didn't ask any questions. I only interviewed one broker. We want you to interview a minimum of 3 different brokers. Ask these questions. Know before you join that brokerage if this is going to be the broker for you. What kind of training or mentoring will you get? As I mentioned earlier, this is the #1 thing that you want to ask of that broker. What kind of training do you have? Am I going to have to pay for that training? Are you going to assign me a mentor? And if you're going to assign me a mentor, tell me exactly the experience that mentor has. How long have they been in business? How many real estate transactions have they done? May I meet the mentor in advance? Because we all learn differently. We all have different personality styles. There may be one mentor that is much better for you than another. So ask if you can meet the mentor in advance that would be assigned to you. But the training is critical. Remember, again, I'm going to go back to my story. I didn't get any training at the beginning, and I was so far behind. What's the commission structure? Each brokerage is going to have a different commission structure. How much is the broker going to get? How much am I, the agent, going to get? And that can vary. What are you providing me, Mr. Broker? And I would make a spreadsheet of the different brokerages that you go and interview. And I would put what that commission structure is for that particular brokerage and what they are providing. Maybe they are letting you have a desk in that office, or maybe they're charging you for that as well. Are they charging you if you have to make a copy? Are they charging you for that? Exactly what is this commission structure going to be, and what are all the fees associated that this is going to cost me if I put my license over here with this brokerage? What marketing materials are you going to provide, Mr. or Ms. Broker? Do you have any signs I could borrow at the very beginning? Maybe I have a limited income and I don't have enough money. I know I'm an independent contractor, so I need to get my own signs. But maybe you have some I could borrow at the very beginning. Do you have any postcards or anything that I could mail out that you already have prepared for me? Exactly what marketing materials will you, the broker, provide? What are you planning to do in real estate? Are you going to be a full-time agent? Are you going to be a part-time agent? If you need to be a part-time agent, that's okay. Don't let anyone tell you that's not okay. We're going to talk in a little bit about how it takes a while to get your real estate business going. And I promise you, your bills are going to continue to come in. They are not going to stop. So you may have to have some money flowing that whole entire time. So if you need to start out part-time, that is perfectly fine. The broker does get to stipulate per the IRS rules if they are going to allow a part-time agent or a full-time agent. So a great question for you to be asking, I'm going to do this part-time, is that okay in this particular brokerage? Maybe you want to be a full-time agent. Maybe you're going to go ahead and start working full-time from the very beginning. Now, remember, as an independent contractor, the broker cannot tell you you have to be here from 8 to 5 or you have to come to mandatory training, but you want to go to all that training. You're not going to be micromanaged as an independent contractor, but you have to want to be there, to work full time, to show up for work every single day. What sector of the real estate market will your business be in? And this is really important because of the fact that a broker gets to stipulate as to what kind of brokerage activity they're going to allow. Your license is good for a lot of different brokerage activities, and that can vary a little bit per state, but residential, commercial, property management, industrial, or just a few. But the broker gets to decide what kind of brokerage activities am I going to allow in this brokerage. Maybe you want to do commercial real estate. Maybe this particular broker does not allow commercial real estate. That would tell you immediately, this is not the broker for me. How are you going to get leads? Well, you know, people ask me all the time, how do I get leads? Do I need to pay for those? No. You can if you would like. That's certainly your choice to make. But this is a relationship building business. This is about building rapport. Your leads are in your everyday life. There's nothing fancy about it. Who do you know? I would go ahead and I would start making a list of every single person that I know, all your relatives, all your friends, your doctors, your attorneys, your dry cleaners, the teachers who teach your children in school. Start making that list. Those are where your leads are. When I got into real estate, as I told you, I wanted to get in so I had the flexibility to take care of my children. So I put on my marketing dollars when I got started really well in real estate. I put all my marketing dollars into their school. They would call and they would say, the coat closet is empty. We are out of coats for children who can't afford a coat. I would say, I'll be right there. I would go and I would buy coats to put in their coat closet. I volunteered on every committee there was. I sponsored water breaks for the band. I put all my marketing dollars into what I did in my everyday life. All of my sons' teachers bought houses for me. They still are, even though my sons are grown now. They're teachers from high school. One just bought a house for me a couple of years ago. So I'm still selling houses to those people that I marketed to all those years ago. I'm still getting business from my sons. Now all their friends are buying houses from me. when they were little, the parents of all their friends, they bought houses from me too. So while I got into real estate to have that flexibility, I wasn't expecting that my kids would bring me all of my real estate business, and they did. And that's a lot because of the fact that I put my marketing dollars into what was important to me, and that was their school, the events that my children were in. I sponsored their sports teams. So that's where your leads are. Again, you can pay for leads if you would like, but your best leads are those that are in your everyday life. Should you depend on your broker for leads? Now, that's a great question to ask. There are some brokers who provide some leads, but I would never depend completely on a broker for a lead. Again, you're an independent contractor. You're the boss of your own business. Of course, everything's under the direction of you following all the broker's laws and rules and making sure everything is in compliance. But those leads, those need to come from you. There are some brokers who will provide some, but the majority of them need to come from you directly. And it's so easy to get leads. Every single day, everything that you do, there is a possible real estate lead there. All right. Matt, can you poll us on some leads?
Yeah, so this brings us to our next question. How do you plan to get leads? You can select all that apply here. And maybe you haven't thought about it, and that's an option too. I'll give people about 30, 45 seconds to answer this one. Okay, about a quarter of us have been able to answer. And while we're waiting, we have a question, Cynthia, from Simone. Do you recommend using a lead service in the beginning or at all?
You know, I think that's kind of an individual preference. For me, again, it was building rapport. It was getting my leads from my everyday life. There are some people who, you know, do prefer to pay for those leads. They can be quite costly. Part of that may have to do with what your budget is like at the very beginning, because it is expensive to do real estate. So it's kind of a personal kind of thing. But I think that, first of all, I would probably try not to pay for them, to just see if you can, through all those people that you know, develop your own lead generation.
Yeah, thank you. So here's our results. Looks like we have a lot of different ways that people are planning to get leads. You know, from my broker is popular, but a lot of people are doing others. So sounds like a lot of people are taking your advice, doing some, you know, guerrilla marketing, as we might call it. And some not sure, and that's okay. So they're gonna, you know, that's something they're gonna be thinking about as they start up.
Mm-hmm,
great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, great information from their poll. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Marketing on a tight budget. As I mentioned, it's expensive to do real estate. However, there are some things that you can do until you start getting your commission checks in that are super costly. So you want to make yourself visible. You want to let everyone know that you're in real estate. That name badge, that's one of the best ways to do that. They cost approximately $15. Some of the best type of marketing you can do: wear your name badge everywhere that you go. Wear your name badge. You may be standing in line at the grocery store, and someone may turn around and say, "Oh, you're in real estate. I need to list my house." It's easy as that. So that name badge, very, very helpful. One of my favorite things to do is, the pens are very inexpensive that you write with to purchase. You could get some branded pens with your name, your broker's name as well. And every time we go out to eat, and my husband and I, we love fine dining. That's probably our favorite hobby. And living in the Dallas area, we have some really super good restaurants. COVID has kind of stopped that just a little bit. We really love our restaurants. So we go out to eat on a regular basis. I always sign my check with my pen that is branded. and I leave it there with the receipt. That is so inexpensive. You can buy a lot of pens for not much money. And think about all those people who came in to that restaurant that have signed with your pen, or hopefully somebody took it with them and they need to buy a house or sell a house. They're like, look, I needed to know the name of a licensee, and here is one right here on this pen that I got from that restaurant. So that's a real easy, inexpensive way that you could certainly make yourself visible. Your business cards. Business cards aren't very expensive. Leave your business cards everywhere that you go. Always leave a business card every single place that you go. You've gone out to eat, leave a business card on the table. You went to pick up your dry cleaning, leave a business card. Any place that you go, just leave your business card. You went to the doctor, you went to the dentist, leave your business cards. Get involved in your community. This doesn't cost a whole lot except for your time. And you can pick up a lot of real estate business. You can make yourself very visible by being involved in the community. Maybe you want to join the Chamber of Commerce. Go to your city council meetings. Have a presence in the community where you are selling real estate. So get involved in your community. Maybe you want to volunteer for, I don't know, Habitat for Humanity, or there's so many different things out there that you could volunteer for. That definitely will make you visible as a licensee. Not only will you be helping others, but this will also help you get real estate business as well. Tell people about your new career. On social media, send out a letter to everybody. Let them all know that, hey, I have arrived in real estate. That is what I am doing now. Let me know any way that I can help if you have a real estate need. Go borrow some credibility. Let's talk about designation certifications. Knowledge is power. The more that you know, the more confident you will feel in your new career in real estate. Certifications and designations are a great way for you to get that knowledge. The GRI, the Graduate Realtor Institute, that is one available all throughout the United States. That's a National Association of Realtors certification. I have this one. And I think every new agent should get their GRI. It will jumpstart your career. It will teach you valuable information. Maybe you want to do commercial, the CCIM, the leader in commercial real estate, a very respected designation if you're doing commercial real estate. So get as many of those designations as you can. They will be really helpful for you, not only to extend your knowledge, but one of the things that you have to overcome when you first get your license is time. So I just got my real estate license. Somebody asked, well, how long have you had your license? I got it yesterday. So you lose a little credibility there. But if you have all those initials beyond your name, people are going to be a lot less likely to ask you how long you've had your real estate license. So designations, certifications, again, learn every single thing that you can possibly learn. And building skills, always helpful. And that's what the education part does. It builds the skills. Another thing is, I mentioned that mentoring, that job shadowing. I told you how I followed Joy around all day, every day, called her 20 times a day. That helped me build my skills as a licensee. Sometimes just job shadowing is an excellent way for that to happen. Don't get discouraged if marketing takes longer than you thought it would. What I see is that some agents do one type of marketing for 1 month and they don't get any results from it, so they stop. I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I always will. It takes on average from all the students that I've worked with, which is way more than 20,000 over the years. It takes about 6 months to get going really well in this business, and that is with consistent marketing. Now, some people may tell you that you're going to get busy in a month. I hope you do. I doubt it. I want to be real realistic here. It may take you 6 months to get going really well because you have to let everyone know that you're in real estate. So even if you don't get any results from your first type of marketing that you're doing that first month, don't quit. Make sure you're consistently marketing every single month. Now, you also want to think about how are you going to market yourself in real estate? And so let's talk a little bit about demographic and geographic marketing. Demographic marketing is where you have decided that you're going to market to maybe first-time home buyers. Maybe you're going to market to people who are retired. So you're deciding which group you're going to focus your marketing on. Maybe you're doing geographic marketing. Maybe you're marketing in your particular area that you live. You know that one the best. So you're like, that's where I want to be known as an expert. So you're saturating that area with marketing. Maybe it's, I don't know, we're about to go into springtime. So maybe you're getting some little packs of seeds for flowers and you're sending them out with your information on it and say, you know, happy spring. Or maybe you are at Thanksgiving sending out a recipe, something as simple as that. So again, it doesn't have to cost you a whole lot. You just need a marketing plan. How am I going to market? Who am I going to market to? What am I going to do with my marketing? When am I going to be marketing? And again, we have to have consistency here. Don't just market one time, and if you don't get any results, don't give up. It just takes the consistency of marketing time and time again. And it's about 6 months is what we see on average. So don't get discouraged. If you do all of this, if you work your business, if you remember that you are in charge, you are the boss of your business, you will do very well with this part. Let's talk about time management. You're in charge of your own business, as we said. You know, you're working under a broker. We have to follow all the laws and the rules, but then the majority of you are going to be an independent contractor. So that means that you are in charge of your own business. You have to plan your days. That I told you that broker can't tell you what time to be there every day, but you have to want to get up and show up for work. I have a student that I taught several years ago. She was one of my all-time favorite students. Her name was Denise. Denise had a marketing plan and she had a business plan. And she had those prepared before she even started in real estate. And in her plan, she showed up for work every single day. Because no one's there to tell you not to hit the snooze one more time. But again, you're the boss of your business. You were the one writing your success story. So that means you have to get up. You have to be motivated. You have to show up because you're not going to be micromanaged. You are the boss. One of the best ways to plan your time is to time block. When I'm teaching students how to prepare for the licensing exam, I teach them how to time block their schedule. The same thing in real estate. You want to time block your schedule. You want to know what you're going to be doing each day. You want to have some calendars in place. Maybe you just want a paper calendar. Maybe you want a Google calendar. Maybe you want to use the calendar on your phone. Whatever kind of calendar that you would like to use that works well for you, you need to make sure you have at least 2 because you don't ever want to miss any time-sensitive deadlines. And you also want, with your time blocking, to make sure you know what you're going to be doing every single day. What are your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to managing your time? I think a lot of this is personality related. I know that I have some students who are or it's just easier for them to hit that snooze button. They're used to being micromanaged. I have others that, they don't need to be micromanaged. They're going to get up at 5 a.m. They're going to go to work. So you've got to figure out which one is you. And you've got to make sure that you're disciplining yourself so that you show up for work every single day in this business. But whatever you do, find something that works for you and take a look at your plan, see how it went, adjust it. One of the things that you have to do is remember to be flexible in real estate. Your day can change regularly. That closing that was scheduled for today might have gotten delayed. You were going to go show a buyer houses. They got sick. They had to postpone. So you've got to have plan A, B, and C ready, and you've got to have the flexibility to be able to move to whatever it is your new plan is. But time management, extremely important. All right, time management, we're going to have another poll for you.
So this is our last poll question. How do you currently, or how do you plan to manage your time? Do you do weekly or daily planning, time blocking? Do you use time tracking software? Have you not thought about it? Do you do something else? Give people a few seconds to answer. Looks like almost half of us have had a chance to answer.
Look at that. Oh man,
Okay.
This is making me very happy. I'm all about planning my day and time blocking and all of that. Look at that, 68% of them do weekly, daily planning. That's wonderful.
So here's our results. Yeah, wow. So a lot of us do weekly or daily planning. That's great. Time blocking is popular. Some people haven't thought about it. Maybe that's something we can dive into in a future webinar, time management strategies. But great.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Great information from that, Paul. All right, let's talk about your income. Remember, you're running a business. Have you figured out how much money you want to make in real estate? Do you have a budget? Do you have a plan to achieve it? Don't compare yourself to other people. Your goals need to be your own goals. There may be someone who wants to make $100,000 a year. There may be someone who wants to make $50,000 a year. You can control that in real estate. So your goals need to be your goals that work for you. If you haven't thought about that, can you estimate and set a goal? So I want you to start thinking about that. Another thing before we go to the Q&A, and this is something that, Matt, I think I get asked a whole lot of the time. Do I need to go and buy an expensive new car to go show properties? No, your car needs to be clean. I don't even put people in my car. I don't want that liability. They can follow you. Do I need to go buy a whole new wardrobe? Well, you need to look professional. I think business casual pretty much applies for most people, unless maybe you're showing somebody, who is buying a luxury home and they're extremely dressed up, and you probably need to match that. Also, we're in and out of a lot of houses. I had an agent showing houses for me one time. I was busy teaching, and so he went to show my clients some houses, and he always wore a suit. And he called me and he said, Cindy, he said, I'm so sorry, but I showed 2 houses and I'm sick. I had to go home. He said, I don't know what is wrong with me. But he said, I have broken out in a sweat. My stomach hurts. And I asked him, I said, what are you wearing? He said, well, you know that I only wear my suit and tie when I go out and show houses. It was 110 degrees outside. That's why he was sick. He had overheated. It gets hot in Dallas, Texas in the summertime. You don't have to wear a suit and tie when you go out. You need to look professional. You need to look well-groomed, but don't feel like you have to go out and spend, $10,000 on a new wardrobe or anything like that. So not necessary. Just look professional. Business casual, I think, as a whole, is probably one of the things that works the best. So I wanted to mention that, Matt, because I get a lot of questions on that. And then I think that you had a Q&A that you wanted to address with them so we can get some of their questions answered.
Yeah, absolutely. So We have some time left to take some questions. For anybody who has some, I have one person with their hand raised right now, I believe, Vivian. So I will unmute her. Vivian, are you there to ask us your question?
I think she's on mute. Can we unmute her? There, I asked her to unmute. Vivian, if you can click on that microphone, you're muted. It will unmute you.
We'll give her a second. And we have another question coming in. What is the best way to get leads when you're starting out, from Carolina?
Carolina, I honestly think, again, it's your everyday life. I would just take a look at, what do you do every day? Where do you spend your time? Who are the people that you know? Those are your best leads of all right there.
Thank you. So we have another question from Yasem or Jasem. I'm sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly in the chat. How do we generate leads? So that's kind of a broad one, but would you talk on that for a moment?
Sure, of course. Well, you generate leads again by building rapport. Now, that could be a lead you bought. It could be a lead from somebody you know. This is a relationship building business. So you want to build that good rapport with that lead. And you also want to nurture that rapport that you built, because you want repeat business from that lead. That will be the lead that keeps on giving and giving and giving, because they're going to have to buy another house later on. They'll probably outgrew the one that they were in. Additionally, if you've done a really good job for them, they're going to tell all their friends and relatives and everybody that they know about this amazing agent who did such a great job for them. So that's how leads are generated, how they continue growing.
Thank you. So we have another question in the Q&A. For a new agent, do you recommend a boutique brokerage or a national brand brokerage?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that depends on the individual agent, that you need to interview all sizes. The brokerage that failed me was a large brokerage. The one that taught me everything was a small brokerage. There are good small, medium, and large brokerages. There are ones that are not as good, small, medium, and large. That's why I want you to interview a minimum of 3. And I would interview small, medium, and large and see what works best for you.
Thank you. So another question in the chat. Are jeans acceptable as formal wear with a nice top and shoes?
I think so. I mean, if they're, nice and neat, and then I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Yeah, I think you're fine.
Yeah, I've seen lots of people in real estate wear jeans, especially if you're not, maybe if you're not pitching a listing or something. As long as they're not like ripped, you should be okay.
There you go. Yes.
So Hisela says, we just moved to a new state across the country. Any suggestions on generating leads when you are just learning the area yourself and you have not yet generated contacts?
Well, as you're learning that area yourself, you're generating leads right there. You have probably new doctors, you have a new dry cleaner, you have new friends. So you are generating leads as you are learning that area. And then again, you can pay for leads. Again, it's not my favorite way to get leads, but if you just don't know enough people, that might be something that you might want to look at. But I think you'll find plenty as you're learning the area and meeting the people, building that rapport. That's where you're going to get your leads.
Great, thank you. So we have another one. Do you recommend helping other agents to get some income and experience in the beginning? Can
you expand, Simone, on that just a little bit? I'm trying to see.
I would assume that they mean helping out with open houses for other agents, maybe helping out with more experienced people.
Yes, thank you, Matt. I think that's exactly what she means. So that's a great way to get started. A lot of times new agents will sit in on an open house for an agent who's more seasoned. So absolutely. Also, let's talk about teams. Maybe you want to join a team. That is a great way for you to get some experience as well.
Any other questions? We have one in chat. Is it legal to leave advertisements in people's mailboxes?
Well, I think it's a federal law. You're not supposed to bother somebody's mailbox. So I would not do that. I would absolutely not do that. Also, remember that each state is going to have specific advertising laws, but your mailbox, I believe, is a federal law. So we don't want to just do that.
You could send it through the mail for sure. And then you'll want to check your state regulations about what information has to be included on mail or advertisements like that.
Exactly.
You know, in most states, you need to include your name, maybe your license number, the telephone number of your brokerage, the broker's name potentially. So you'll want to make sure that you're in compliance either way.
Yeah, and each state can be a bit different. So like Matt said, make sure you're in compliance.
We have another question. Is it better to get a certificate or a certification, say in commercial real estate, even if you don't have the experience at first? So, you know, maybe is it a problem if you want to specialize when you don't necessarily have experience in that area?
You know, I don't think so. Now, know that on some of those different certifications and designations, you have to have done a certain number of transactions for them in that particular area for them to actually give you the certification or designation. But I think it's fine to go ahead and start from the very beginning. In fact, I encourage it. And you may learn more about what type of brokerage activity you want to do as you experience each one. You may think, oh, I want to do residential, then you do a commercial deal and you're like, I really liked that. So I really want to become an expert on that.
Okay. Let's see. How do you join a team?
Yeah, so you would just talk to the brokers that you are interested in interviewing, ask them if they have teams in their brokerage and if any of them are adding agents. So make sure it's a really good team. I've had students who learn a lot from being on a team.
Let's see. We don't have any more questions queued up. Don't have any hands raised. We still have a few minutes, so if you have questions, now is your time.
Any other questions we can answer? Don't forget, you truly are the author of your success story in real estate. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything. You're getting that great broker. Matt, tell them a little bit about the upcoming webinar that we have on some interviewing questions. I think that would be great for them to know about as well.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to post the link here in the chat. It's also going to be in the follow-up email after this session. But our next webinar is coming up on Thursday, and that is how to choose a broker with Doug Byron, who is a broker here in Austin. He's been doing this for a long time, and he's hired many people, so he knows the other side of it as well. We're going to talk about what types of interview questions you should ask. We're going to talk about what you should be focusing on with brokers and interview strategy. So that'll be really interesting, especially because it looks like a lot of us don't yet have a broker. It looked like about over half of the people in here from our poll earlier. So that'll be great. We have a couple minutes and we did have a few questions roll in. So before we jump off here, let's see if we can answer a couple. Would you recommend cold calling?
It's not my favorite. There are still some agents who do cold calling on the phone. Of course, you have to make sure that you've checked the do not call list, but I get scam calls all day long. And I just don't think people are interested in getting phone calls about, do I want to sell my house or do I want to buy a house? So it's not my favorite. I'm also not a fan of door knocking because it's not safe, for one thing. There are still some agents who do that. Plus, again, I think there's a lot of other much better ways for you to market than that.
Let's see. I'm a bit nervous about quitting my current job. Would you recommend starting as part-time in real estate?
Absolutely. If you're nervous about quitting that current job and you have a really good current job that you're working, where you're working, then I would definitely start part-time. Absolutely.
How do you feel about remote brokerage?
Again, it depends on the person. There are some people who prefer to go to an office. There are other people who, prefer to join a virtual brokerage. Again, it goes down to the training and the mentoring. You can get training or mentoring either of those ways, and that is what is the most important part. I love the remote working myself. I just find that when I'm working in my own office, there's a lot less distractions. It's nice and quiet. I can get a lot more work done. But again, that's an individual preference.
All right. I think we have time for just one or two more. Can you give this? This is a good question, I think. Can you talk about what does a typical day for a brand new agent look like for the first couple of months? What should they expect?
For each day to be different. That's probably the best answer to that. Each day can vary completely. But in a normal day, I would definitely do my time blocking to where I've spent some time on lead generation. I have spent some time on my marketing. I have spent some time on making sure that I've passed out maybe 5 business cards, 10 business cards in a day. So I would make sure that I've time blocked every single thing. Going to a closing with another agent so you can see what that is like. So for a brand new agent, you're kind of just setting everything up. But those would be some of the things that I would think you would be doing there at the very beginning during your first days there in real estate. And learning, let's not forget that. Maybe you want to take some classes, get those certifications, designations. I would definitely put those on your list at the very beginning as well, and throughout your career. We're always learning. Just about the time you think you've learned, probably pretty much everything, they'll change all the laws and the rules. So we're never finished learning in real estate. It's ongoing forever.
Great, thank you. We are out of time. I know, Cynthia, you have another webinar. You're very busy, so thank you for taking your time to talk about this with us today.
Thank you. Quite an honor to be here with you, Matt. Thanks for asking me to be here. And again, you have every opportunity for success. This is your business, so write your success story. You've got this. You're going to all do fantastic.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody. I've posted 2 links in the chat. The first is a link to a survey if you want to give us some feedback about this or for future session ideas. The second is a link to our landing page where you can go see our other future webinars and sign up for the next session, how to choose a broker, as well as the 6 things nobody told me starting in real estate with Stu from Prep Agent coming up after that. So thank you very much. You will have access to this recording. It will definitely be on the Prep Agent YouTube within a couple days. I don't know if it'll be sent out afterwards. It might be included in the email, but it will definitely be on YouTube. So thank you very much, everybody. And we hope that you have a good day.
Bye, everyone.